Good evening and welcome to the Daily Fart, the only news show where the truth stings just a little bit less than the reality. These are today's topics: 80 lashes to become a better human being. Taxes are for everyone, not just the poor. US aid Africa. Trump and Ukraine. Bribery is back. Free speech for Europe. 80 lashes to become a better human being. In Indonesia, consensual kissing is perfectly legal as long as one person involved has
a vagina.
To show solidarity with these poor souls, I've decided to let my wife beat me with a belt, of course, only when I have impure thoughts. You know, to cleanse my moral filth the conservative way. While in Aceh, 80 lashes are handed out for something as scandalous as liking someone the wrong way, I no wonder, would 7 lashes at home be enough? Or do I need the full conservative experience for the true spiritual purity? I'll keep you updated, if I can still sit down tomorrow. Taxes are for everyone, not just the poor. The EU and India are rushing to seal a historic free trade deal, promising big profits for corporations, and the usual "trust us, it'll trickle down" speech for everyone else. Meanwhile, Volkswagen just got a 1.4 billion wake-up call from India for dodging import duties. Because apparently, free trade doesn't mean free from paying your fucking taxes. Volkswagen executives are reportedly freaking out over the idea that they might actually have to contribute to society like the peasants they exploit. One insider was heard screaming, "We don't pay taxes, we lobby to make them disappear." Indian officials, however, remained firm. "If you want to do business here, at least take us out to dinner before you screw us." While EU leaders toast to economic cooperation, Volkswagen is scrambling to figure out if they can write off tax fraud as a business expense. Meanwhile, actual workers are still waiting for the moment when free trade means anything other than corporations getting richer while they get shafted. US cuts aid to Africa because who needs food when you have democracy? The United States has announced massive cuts to its aid programs in Africa, citing democratic backsliding as the reason. "We don't like your politics, so enjoy starving. Hunger? Sorry, no budget for that." For years, USAID provided funding for health programs, food security, and education across African nations. But now Washington has decided that since some governments aren't behaving the way the US wants, millions of ordinary people can just go ahead and suffer. Democracy is important, and if you don't practice it correctly, will make sure your hospitals and food programs collapse. That will teach you. Weapons, no problem. Oddly enough, while humanitarian aid is being slashed, the US continues to send weapons and military training to several African countries. A political analyst commented, "Apparently, democracy is optional when it comes to arms deals. Hungry people, no aid. Armies, unlimited budget. Conclusion, starve now, democratize later." While the aid cuts will mostly harm the poorest and the most vulnerable people, US politicians remain confident that with enough suffering, democracy will magically flourish. Trump to Ukraine. No minerals, no missiles. But here's a free lecture on World War III. The US and Ukraine were this close to sealing a deal. Rare earth minerals in exchange for security guarantees. Then Donald Trump barged in and torpedoed the whole thing faster than one of his failed casinos. Why? Because Zelensky had the absolute nerve to ask for actual security instead of a handshake and thumbs up. Trump, deeply offended that someone expected him to follow through on something, stormed out and declared that Ukraine was pushing the world toward World War III.
You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III.
A bold claim considering that at this very moment the US is threatening Canada, fantasizing about buying Greenland like its own Facebook marketplace, and picking random fights with Panama because someone reminded Trump that the canal exists. According to White House insiders, Trump was shocked that the Ukraine wanted actual commitments.
He broke this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about?
Meanwhile, J.D. Vance, trying his best to sound like a wise elder statesman, dropped his now legendary line.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No.
Because obviously, begging for survival should come with a handwritten apology and a fruit basket. Historical flashback. Wait, did Poland start World War II? By Trump's logic, any country that resists invasion is provoking war. So technically, Poland caused World War II by rudely existing in 1939. Funny, that's not what my history teachers drilled into me. And believe me, as a German, I paid extra attention in that chapter. Bribery is coming back. Just when Latin America thought it was making progress in fighting corruption, bribery, backroom deals and offshore accounts are making a glorious comeback. And they have a powerful cheerleader. Donald Trump. Bribery is back, baby! Under Trump's influence, authoritarian leaders and corrupt elites across Latin America feel safer than ever, stuffing their pockets with public money. While the US once at least pretended to care about democracy in Latin America, Trump made it clear that as long as leaders are sufficiently right-wing, anti-immigrant and open to shady deals, they can loot their countries as much as they want. A former Latin American minister, now living in a luxury villa far from his bankrupt homeland, and summed it up: under Trump, stealing public funds felt less like a crime and more like an investment opportunity. While elites party in tax havens, ordinary Latin Americans continue to deal with broken hospitals, collapsing infrastructure, and politicians who suddenly disappear when asked about missing funds. Experts warn that this could lead to, well, the exact same cycles of crisis that have plagued the region for decades. Freedom of speech or selective silence. US Senator and self-proclaimed free speech savior J.D. Vance waddled onto a stage in Munich to declare that Europe has a serious problem with free speech. Yeah, because nothing says censorship crisis like standing in front of cameras on a stage with a microphone and having your speech broadcasted globally. But the real comedy came days later when the White House decided to boot several critical journalists from press briefings, including German reporters, who were presumably just too European to grasp the delicate art of American-style free speech. Which apparently means talk all you want, but if you don't like it, get the fuck out. When asked if this aligned with his Munich monologue, Vance disappeared faster than a lobbyist's morals, leaving behind nothing but a copy of the US Constitution, oddly missing the First Amendment, probably because it fell somewhere out between hypocrisy and selective outrage. And that's it for today, folks. We've learned a lot. Democracy comes with an expiration date. Free trade isn't free unless you're a billionaire. And in some places, kissing is apparently more dangerous than war. But don't worry, the world will keep spinning, politicians will keep lying, and we'll be back to document the madness. Unless we get banned, arrested, or accidentally hired as government advisors. Until then, stay safe, stay skeptical, and remember, if life gives you lemons, check if they're being taxed before making lemonade. Good night, good luck, and keep your hands to yourself.